Hello, Davine. Can you briefly introduce yourself?
My name is Davine Witbooi. I'm from Lutzville. It's a small coastal town in the west coast of the Western Cape in South Africa.
Okay. And what do you do?
I am part of Small Scale Farmers, and I'm also a human rights activist for 27 years in the rural area.
Why do you need to be a human rights activist in your area? What's happening there?
27 years ago, I moved to stay in the rural area in Lutzville. So I was working in the community with farm dwellers and farm workers. By that time, a lot of people was just taken off from the land, and they moved to stay in the rural area, in former settlements. So I stand up for the people, and there was a lot of gender-based violence happening in the community.
What was the what's the form of the struggle that you had then?
The struggle was that most of the land didn't belong to the local people. So they were just farm workers on the land.
Mm-hmm.
And their rights were violated because most of the time the farmers didn't pay the workers, and we intervened by taking the law, because after 1994 we see that a lot of people didn't receive whatever they wanted, and even the sectoral determination of government said how much they must pay. And there was also a lot of gender-based violence, where the men was beaten up the women. Most of the people also that work on the farm, they came from other provinces to come and work in that area.
And you were able to gain land rights for these people or some other form of security?
Yes, we formed the small-scale farmer forums in our area, and also we mobilized with other provinces and establish social movements, because in rural areas there's a difficulty with the language, and some of the government officials don't speak the local language, that is Afrikaans. So they will come in and have briefing session, and people don't understand what it's all about. So what we did as activists, we mobilized and formed these forums for small-scale farmers and farm dwellers and farm workers.
Okay, and then in the last couple of decades or so, you've also been fighting against mining interests?
Yes, what we see in the area is mining companies will come in. There was a lot of misleading inside the community, where they told the community that they will get jobs at the mining company, and they will receive more money as what they get on farms if they work on farms. So what we did is we stand up and ask the mining companies, but where's the jobs that you promised the community? Because most of the people that was working at the mine was people that they bring in. The Australian mining company, MSR Torman, was the same company that wanted to mine in Tulabeni in the Wild Coast. What they did is they came into the area in 2013 and started mining. There were also other mining companies, but whenever we want to see them, they come out to the community, but not this Australian mining company. What they do is they involve the councillors, and the councillors didn't come and give feedback to the community. So they were benefiting from the mine and not the local community. What we did is stand up, and we did ask the questions, because there was no other person that can stand up for the community to engage with the mining company because of the language barrier, and also people were afraid of taking on this mining company because what we did see and the way they act inside the community. So that is why we stood up and we talked to them, but eventually they didn't want to come out to the community. And there was also a lot of misfortune happening, where people spreading the rumors that there's money that they give the leaders just to mislead the community.
And what has been the result of the movement that you had?
In 2016, we started a movement with women and children after the slap suit was laid against me. I was speaking at the university because I was invited to the summer school to talk about mining at what cost. So when I spoke about the nature, the beauty, the flowers in that part of the Western Cape, and also the promises that the mining company did do and say that there will be jobs. So what eventually happened is that they put a summons against me in the High Court
Hmm.
and claimed
This was the Australian mining company?
Yes, the Australian mining company, and they claimed 750,000 rand from me, and also two other women that was lawyers, environmental lawyers. They claimed 500,000 of each of them. Eventually, we were 7 activists, that's environmental lawyers included, that they claimed 14.5 million rand to just to make our mouths shut, close. And what we did is we started mobilizing the women, because the women was suffering and they can't get any jobs. So the women stood with me, with the young ones, and we went to the court in Cape Town, the High Court, and we started telling the world what happened to us in the rural area, because this is remote areas where people don't always hear about what happened in that area. But the women and young ones stand up and start fighting this mining company.
What happened with the slap suit finally?
Last year, we went to the High Court, and we lost the first case because they didn't want to give us the financial reports in the court, and the court ruled in their favor that they don't have to give the financial reports. But what happened secondly is the lawyers and the advocate that represent us went to the Constitutional Court, because in the Constitution it states freedom of speech. People can't be, they can't close their mouths because they've got money and we don't have money to pay for legal representatives in court. So we went to the Constitutional Court and we did win the case. So last year, even with the pressure that we and other social movements, global social movements, put on the mining company, the CEO they chased him away. He lost his job because the shareholders say that and ask the question, how can they put claims against local community leaders? So also what happened in the Wild Coast, Bazooka, he was a Madiba Cases Committee chairperson, he was assassinated. And what we see around the world, and even La Via Campesina, I'm a member of La Via Campesina, I was invited to various countries. We also detail globally what happened to us in our small community. So there was a lot of solidarity action and also support that we get from outside, but from the local people, especially the men in the community. They were telling us why you stand up against a mining company, because this was a way for us to get money from them. They contribute a lot of money, but the money didn't come to the community. The money landed up in politicians' pockets and also in community leaders, so-called leaders. It landed in their pockets, not to the community.
Mm-hmm. And you also have oil and gas exploration happening in that area?
Yes, there's a lot of application that happen in that area, because there's also diamond mining that take place, sea diamonds, and also there's sand mining, and we also have this application for oil and gas extraction in the West Coast. But what we are doing as civil society, we stand up and say, no, we are not going to allow any mining activity and oil and gas extraction into the sea, because this will put our communities in poverty. Because the restriction of government is that you can just fish a certain amount of fish. So the licenses, they cut also on the licenses. But the women group that we mobilize currently along the coastline stand up and say, no, we're going to lead our own struggle. We are not going to allow any men to stand in front and say they are leading us. We give them training, we give them the platform to speak out because of the gender dynamics that happen in the community. We see that, and also the cultural dynamics is that women keep quiet for too long. So now they become strong out of the situation that happened to me by this mining company. So what they do now is women lead on their own struggles currently.
You have, so there are similar struggles across the coast in South Africa, right? So are they linked up in some way? Is there like an association or something?
Yes, what we did is our forum is the West Coast Food Sovereignty and Solidarity Forum. We were born out of the South African Food Sovereignty Campaign. When the campaign started 10 years ago, I was part of the discussions and shaping all the activist tools because of what we facing on the local level. So we were part of shaping all this activist tool. We engage with other social movements and also the provinces, because South Africa have 9 provinces. So we link up with a lot of academics, with social movements. So we have our actions together and we train ourselves and interact with ourselves. So there was also a lot of exchange visits to the different parts. People came to the West Coast to see what we are doing, because sometimes we see people represent communities, but they don't know where that area is. They don't know what that community is facing. So that was the only way how we can stand up and say this is our reality that we are speaking about, not something that we read in a book or learn about. It is our real reality.
So apart from the slap suit, given that South Africa also has a, it can be quite violent in terms of, like you mentioned, the assassination of Bazooka. Have there been any threats to your life as part of the movement?
Yes, there were, because the community, when they heard that I stood up against the mining company, I couldn't sleep at night because I'm staying in an informal settlement with a lot of different people from different areas and also countries. So it's difficult just to sleep at night. But luckily, when people started realizing what's going on, the support that I received from the local women and young ones, that was vibrant. And also I did move a lot out of the country, going to different countries, because I'm part of La Via Campesina, the Southeast Africa region. So they couldn't trace me easily, but staying in the area where a lot of people is sometimes safeguarding your life. And also we did highlight it, because out of the sessions that we have with the mining company, some of the officials of the company just say, now we read about you in the on social platforms. We read about you on Facebook, and they dig deeper into your history. They want to see, are you only a small group of people inside the community? But when they realize that you are linked to international social movements, they are scared to touch you. They are scared to kill you. So that, I think that was the main thing that safeguarded my life. But it was very crucial and also important for me to build linkages outside our boundaries where the mining activities take place.
Yeah, so I think national and global solidarity is a very important
Yes.
way of securing yourself against these sorts of forces, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is what we experience, and also that was the best thing to do, to mobilize outside and build the solidarity actions. Because what we see is the head office of this mining company was in Perth in Australia, and we mobilized the activists to go in front of that office there and just picketing every day, picketing. And also there was like Oxfam, South Africa went to the United Nations Human Rights Office and tell them about what we are facing. So I think out of this experience, and now nobody, and even big corporation, because of this case, this was a victory case for not only us that face the slap suits, but for everyone globally, because now they can refer to this slap suit as a victory and what the court ruling was. So everywhere people can use that in courts and say, but because of this case, people, the human rights, the law said, rule into this activists and say that freedom of speech is a reality. You can't just take that away from people.
So it's an important precedence that you have set through that
Yes.
case. Tell me, in terms of the relationship with the land and with the seeds and the sea, the oceans, the fish, is it more than a material relationship? I mean, of course, you depend on them, but is there also a cultural, spiritual relationship you have with them?
Yes, because where I'm staying, there's different indigenous tribes. You get the Khoisan, the Bushmans, the Griquas, different tribes that stay together. Some of them are not yet recognized by government, but because we know the area, there's a spiritual relationship. Even the churches go to the riverside or the seaside and they baptize into the water. We also have this traditional medicine that is in the field, so people will go to the field and connect with nature. So that is important for us to protect that. Even I come from a royal Khoi family in Paarl, where I moved 27 years to that area. So for me, it's very important that we keep the traditional way of doing things and we protect that right. But some of the youngsters, they don't want to be part of the traditional way of doing things. But we see every time, like when COVID come in, we move back to the traditional medicine, and that was the way how we cure a lot of people and make sure that people don't die out of the area. So this is very, very important. Some of the groups have the cultural events where we speak about what happened that time and what medicine or what way of tradition we were practicing. So it's important for me that even in that area you will see a lot of natural vegetation, and we can't allow big corporation to come in to destroy that because they are not in the area. They were not there when our people practice their traditional way of living.
Yeah, I've heard that it's a very beautiful area with a lot of diversity of wildflowers and wildlife
Yes.
and so on. So it's
Yes.
very important to protect that. In terms of, because these people come with promises of jobs and all of that, which of course they're not going to give. But what are your own, apart from continuing your traditional practices of farming and fishing, are there other livelihoods that like the younger people are wanting, which as alternatives to what the mining companies or the government is bringing? Do you have your own plans for what kind of livelihoods could be generated?
Yeah, currently young people are excluded into the society. Even with the curriculum in schools, a lot of people, young people, are thrown out of school. So what we are doing in this forum is we bring them in and train them skills, different skills, and make sure that they have an income to stand up on their own and fight the systems of government. Because we see that sometimes it's not about getting all those qualifications that will secure a job, but when people want to do something that they want to do and feel happy, and that's why we connect them with nature, training them in agroecology, doing food sovereignty, tell them what that means, because sometimes what they are seeing, they have a different way of thinking what maybe the methodology is. So we train them about nature and how to protect it, because you will see in nature you get a lot of birds and different species, and we need to protect them. So we bring them back to the natural sources so they can develop a love for nature and start their own thing out of the skills that that we develop, and also teach them to do, and also do farming.
Okay. So I think your movement, and also recently I was in the Kolobeni area, the Amadiba Crisis Committee. These are very inspiring moments for all of us around the world. So all the best for what you're doing, and we hope that anytime you need more global solidarity, that we can be with you.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, because the victory wasn't us alone in the West Coast. The victory was, it was like a scale. If you see how the South Africa is, you get the West Coast and you get the Wild Coast, the hot side and the cold side coming together in Cape Town. And so it was like a balance. And if you see, Nontler was in that side, women stand up. I was in the side, women stand up. And that's why it's important for us to build women structures so they can stand up, they can protect Mother Earth, and also they can promote and train people, because we don't live forever. But the importance is that we build women structures so women can stand up and fight for dignity, for love, for their right to nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Davine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.